Hello and welcome to the video lesson for the water demonstration relating to our current learning surrounding thermal energy. Now, the first thing that I would like you to do is, you can pause the video, but I would like you to copy the question and answer these pre-lab questions on your worksheet for the task. So, I want you to make a prediction. How do you predict that the food coloring will interact with the hot water? So what we're doing today is we are adding a single drop of food coloring to two different environments. The first environment is hot water, and the second environment is cold water. You're going to make a prediction, how will that drop of food coloring behave in the two different environments? That third question is, do you think you will see a visible difference? Yes or no? So go ahead, pause the video. Copy down these questions in your notebook, and again, you need to actually answer the questions. All three of them. Okay? So pause the video and do that now. Now that you're done answering those questions, we're going to actually move on to the lab/demo. Now, on your paper, since you are doing this at home, your task is going to be to write the procedure that you are watching me perform. I want you to just go ahead and we'll just start with 6. Do 7 because we got room. 7 numbers. While I am talking through the procedure, you should be filling out these steps in the lab/demo as if you were actually making the procedure with us in class. I'll do the first one for you as an example, and then after that you are going to be on your own. Okay, so keep my paper here since I'm going to do it with you. Step 1, we need to actually set the environment. So I am going to fill and we are using we'll just say a dish because I forgot the word. Fill a dish, it's a petri dish, that's what it is, with cold water. So I'm going to fill one dish with cold water, and then I'm going to fill a separate dish with hot water. So that is step 1 and 2. And from here on out, you're going to be on your own. I'm going to slide these dishes into the frame. They are already filled for you. The dish on the bottom is cold water, and the dish on the top is hot water. Step 3, I'm going to obtain some food coloring. So I've got a bottle here, and I have chosen red. It doesn't matter what color you have, but I have obtained some food coloring. That's step 3. If you would like to pause this video and write that in your procedure, might be a good idea. Step 4, I'm going to add 1 drop of food coloring to each environment. So I'm going to add a single drop to red, a single drop of red to the hot, and a single drop of red to the cold. That's step 4. And for step 5, I am going to observe. So we are 30 seconds into the demonstration. This is the hot, this is the cold, and we're going to watch them for 1 more minute. So step 6, we are going to continue monitoring and making observations approximately every 30 seconds. We're about 1 minute into the demonstration now. And we're about 1:30 in. So our final step, we're going to record our final observations. And I do want to talk about this a little bit because we're limited in some ways by the video lesson. So what you should have seen is in this hot water, that droplet spread out. It spread out a little quicker, and it also spread out more. It didn't retain its shape. It kind of broke into some different patterns. So that's why we can see it completely filled the top of the well, and it hasn't actually really even ventured that much down toward the south end. And in that cold droplet, it spread out more slowly, and it kind of stayed together more. So that droplet stayed more in a droplet pattern. The reason you guys don't see such a stark difference is because I'm using such a small amount of water in the demo. If you were in class, we use a larger volume of water in a beaker, and you'll be able to see a larger difference. Okay, so for your post lab, what I would like you to do is divide the box in half. Because we're going to make two models. On the top half of the box, you're going to model what you can visually see. And on the bottom half of the box, we're going to model that particle level. I'll do cold with you, and then you'll do hot on your own. So in that cold environment, what we could visually see, that droplet stayed together more. And I'll get a colored pencil. Stayed more near the center. And spread out slightly more slowly. That's what we could visually see. Now, what we couldn't see, but we do know about, is the particle level model. On the particle level, we are currently in a cold environment, which means we have a relatively low amount of thermal energy. Which means our particles have a fairly small amount of energy. So the particles we're going to represent as circles. And the energy we're going to represent as arrows. When we have a relatively low amount of energy, our particles demonstrate that by moving slowly. So again, that is the cold environment. I want you to talk through the hot environment. I want you to draw what we could visually see, our observations from lab. And I want you to model the particle level for a situation where we have more thermal energy. Okay. So go ahead, pause the video and take some time to do that. And when you're ready, unpause the video and then we'll talk through what I want on the rest of this page. So questions 2 and 3, we are still talking about observations from lab. So you are prompted to write 2 sentences on how the food coloring interacted with the hot water, and then do the same for the cold water. What I would suggest is using observations that you made immediately and then observations that you made after the 90 seconds that I let it run for. So you might start your sentence with, when added, the food coloring droplet ... Finish the sentence, described how it looked immediately as it was added, and then describe after 90 seconds how did it look at the end. And remember, this is what we're doing for hot water. So finish those sentences for hot water, pause the video if you need, and then do the same for cold water. How did the cold water look when added? How did it look after 90 seconds? Pause the video so that you need to answer this. You need to fill out this page in its entirety in order to get credit. Okay, now on this final section, you are writing how does the particle motion differ between hot and cold water. I would do a 2-sentence answer describing both scenarios. In hot water, the particles are ... and then describe how that changes in cold water. Okay, so pause the video, finish those sentences. And then when you're ready, unpause and we'll move to number 2. How might particle motion correlate to the rate of food coloring dispersion? So we're going to do this as a fill-in-the-blank scenario. As the temperature rises, the particles move, and then you'll pick. You either need to pick more or less in the rate of dispersion. Dispersion being how fast it spreads out. Dispersion means spread out. Rate would be how fast it. Blank. And you would do increases or decreases. So go ahead and fill in that sentence, pausing and unpausing the video as you need it. Okay, and then your final question. What example of energy transfer did you observe? Sorry about that, want to get another page. So these are the examples of energy transfer that you learned about on page 3. So on page 3 you had a reading. Go through this reading and see if you can figure out what example of energy transfer did you see in this demonstration. And once you have filled in the name of that term and you have answered all these questions and filled out the observations, you are done with this task.